right. Okay, let's go. So first, thank you all for coming and joining on this webinar that we put on. So today, what we're going to focus on and speak about is the future of wealth and asset management. It's a very exciting industry, and there's a lot of things happening. So first of all, thank you so much for taking the time. I know your schedules are probably as busy as all of ours. So that you're able to take this half an hour, we truly appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be able to connect, meet in person. Forward here as well. So the introduction and the agenda that we have for today is we're going to do a quick intro of who the speakers for today will be, and then we're going to do a quick section of the trends that we are seeing, and then majority of the session will be a hands-on, see a demo of how it could be and how we could leverage Salesforce in order to help you in the action. So that will be majority of the piece for today's 30 minutes webinar. And in the end, we will open up the floor. So if you have any questions, we'll be able to answer that, but also talk a little bit about the next steps. As I mentioned before we started recording, I'm coming down to South Africa and Johannesburg and Cape Town first week of June. So maybe we can even connect in person for those who are based in South Africa, but also know we have a couple of people, I think, from Ghana, Botswana, calling in today. So who is the speakers for today? It will be me. I'm account executive at Salesforce, been here for the past 4 years, and I am solely focusing on financial services. So what I do on an everyday is speaking with wealth and asset managers, hear their challenges, and helping them tackling that by working with Salesforce, delivering the tools necessarily in order to deliver great customer experience. And then we have Mr. Tsubi. I'd like to do an introduction as well.
All right. No, thank you so much, Tobias, for that. Hi, everybody online. I'm actually calling from Joburg, South Africa currently, and really looking forward to discussing the unpacked value of the wealth management segment. I'm currently a board member at Stanbic Bank, and I have experience in the digital e-commerce space. We've built a number of products, and our organization sits in a number of countries in the SADC region of Africa. So we're really looking forward to unpacking this both on a client perspective and just as a bank board member as a whole.
And I can go next. You all can hear me, right? Perfect. So my name is Luzi Bukete. You might wonder why Mtebisi and I have the same last name. We are related. Mtebisi is my older brother. But we've been working very closely with Tobias. So my background is in computer science and business. I did that in university out in British Columbia, originally from Botswana. Then worked at Deloitte in Vancouver and Toronto, where I was helping large enterprises capture the value of Salesforce. Also spent time at a company called Traction on Demand, which was bought by Salesforce, where I was helping financial services firms leverage Salesforce. And before starting Trail Consult as a partner and principal architect, I was at Salesforce. So I worked at Salesforce as a solution engineer, working with clients in multiple industries, really around that, 50 to 5,000 person employee company, helping them optimize and get the most value from Salesforce. And also spent some time with a New York-based consulting firm, helping financial services firms, specifically wealth and asset managers, capture value with the AI capabilities available in Salesforce. So that's a bit about myself, and I'm sitting in Toronto currently, and that's where I'm based. But I am going to be in South Africa with Tobias in a couple weeks here, and hopefully we'll get to meet in person. So it's a pleasure to meet everyone, and thank you all for making the time to connect. Tobias, I'll hand it over to you to cover some of the insights and industry trends that we're seeing from a wealth and asset manager standpoint.
Yeah, fantastic. So we can move to the next one already. So as I said, I work solely with financial services companies, and here's some of the things that we are hearing on a daily basis. That we're seeing a problem that companies facing with when it comes to growth. We can actually just pull up all of them, let's say. And what we're facing is that a lot of teams are feeling overwhelmed. We're having a lot of challenges in terms of we want to reach more clients, but it's harder than ever. And simultaneously, as we want to grow and get into new clients, our relationship managers are facing more and more like administration time. Like, so they're focusing less and less time on what's actually driving the business forward. And this is really what's stopping us. And then we have this thing where we talk about AI now, and every company wants to become AI ready and be able to start leveraging that on the business. However, because of how the current setup is, what we're hearing is that companies are not actually really able to utilize this and see and drive value from it. And because we're not having the tool set up in order to do this, customers and companies are really, really struggling with this at the moment. And it's not only like this is what the clients and what I hear when I'm speaking on the phone and like speaking with them. This is also backed by research. So if we go to the next slide, let's say. So if we look at the reports from McKinsey's, Boston Consultants, and Accenture's, like we see in the market at the moment, like you're tackling and facing a decrease of the profits. However, even though we have an increase of the global asset under management, we're still seeing a decrease in the profit. We have our teams that are facing challenges. They feel like 25% feel like their relationships with the clients is actually weakening. And we say that 65% of our relationship managers, they feel like they spend 65% of the time actually on administration tasks and focusing on compliance instead of actually what's driving the business forward. So what we're hearing is an immense amount of challenges at the moment. So if we go forward here, like that on a positive side is that if you recognize, if you feel yourself in some of the challenges that we just mentioning, the good things here is that your competitors and your other companies in the market are facing the same. So yes, we're seeing a lot of challenges, but what we're also seeing here is that we're seeing an enormous amount of opportunities for those companies who are ready to invest, those who are ready to actually go hands-on to this and actually set themselves up for success. So we are in a very exciting time. We see a lot of opportunities. There is challenges, but for those who are ready to go for it, there's an enormous amount of opportunities. So that was very quickly for me. I will hand over the word to Mr. Bukate to be able to speak a little bit from a personal point of view and from the bank point of view.
Thanks, Tobias, for that. So to be fair, guys, I just wanted to just start off with like a micro background story. So like growing up, when it came to wealth management and wealth advisory, the way we here in Africa, not all African countries, but mainly most of ours, it's identified in livestock. So we would see cattle, goats, the animals that you keep, and the wealth management aspect is how many of those can you reproduce? How can you take care of them? How can you allow that journey in terms of managing your livestock grow? So that was our journey on or rather our perspective of wealth management. Of course, in the introduction of the fiat systems and currencies to the market, it changed. And right now, in places, even across Botswana, there are 16-year-olds who are able to open up investment accounts with their cell phone. They're also able to just go straight into fractal infrastructure bond markets. They're also able to do like rapid wealth journeys independently and engage with their relationship managers in real time. So this is all obviously made possible with technology. The main issue is these are two different journeys that still currently exist. Today, Africa holds $2.5 trillion worth of liquid assets. and we're already about to have 135,000 millionaires in Africa. Even though this is going to happen in the continent, the whole continent, which is a 65% growth in the past decade, the asset management, the wealth departments, the wealth managers, the growth is still on single digits. So we're having so much value, so much growth, and so much potential wealth being poured and built and created in Africa. Yet the people who are managing that are falling less and less in that capacity. So here at Stanbic, my colleagues managed to share some information regarding the 360 view on how they're actually implementing it internally. And I'm just going to give you an example of how I'm actually experiencing that 360, that Salesforce implementation that they have at the bank. So what they're able to do is create like hyper-personalized, hyper-relevant, and hyper-focused journeys for each customer. So it almost feels like you're the only customer that they're dealing with, from identifying anniversaries to identifying when you're doing the next purchase to how your loan payments are going. The intimacy that the bank has with myself it's quite unique in the sense that it creates this allure of family, of you have the best interest at heart. And that to me is something that is unmatched in terms of the relationship management segment. Of course, we still love and like to engage on mobile devices. You don't necessarily want to be engaged on like paper-based or in-person sometimes, especially because we're always traveling. And obviously adopting on cloud prem solutions like this one, it allows for that uniqueness, that versatility, that adaptability and scale going forward. So for us, really, on like a macro and micro perspective, I see that investors are going to be placing, and this is obviously according to the AVCA research, $5.9 billion into African deals. This is since 2023. Two renewable energy transactions were also made up of 37% of all those deals in the second half. And proof of that impact is obviously returned in the capital growth of Africa being the next green market, the next blue ocean, the next layer of wealth creation. So in my mind, and what I've read multiple times, is the African Bank has already identified 11 out of the 20 fastest growing economies on the planet are in Africa. So there is just a lot of indicators, and I'm pretty sure everyone here knows, was preaching to the choir, that Africa is the next market. It's not coming soon, it is here. And we as wealth management practitioners need to be able to understand and basically engage with customers like myself to better understand our needs today. It's not only just saying happy birthday message. Gone are those days where that is enough or suffices to wealth management, or let me share your let's put your portfolio in X or Y. It gets more advanced, it gets more robust in that regard. So let's work together to take this 1.3 billion population of Africa from identifying the crawls, the wealth and cattle and animal and livestock, into helping us manage our finances better with this digital on-ramp going forward. And with that, I'm going to let Lucy just unpack a demonstration of exactly what I mean by this 360 intimacy that I have experienced with the bank that I'm currently working with.
Thank you so much for that, TBC. And I call him TBC Tabby. That's what I'm used to calling him. So I wanted to just reiterate, I think from the future of wealth and asset management, I'm going to go right into the demo. What we're seeing, so at Trail Consult, we are one of the leading partners within EMEA. We work with clients to deliver these outcomes. So I know that we gave an example of a bank that specifically within the wealth and asset management, but we work with customers that are small family offices. You have firms that are not the massive enterprises. You have firms that have 2 people in the actual advisory department. You have firms that have 100 people. So the same technology that the bank and examples that Mtabisi had mentioned is the same technology that you have access to to scale your operation. And the main business outcomes and drivers that we're trying to enable is how do we drive profitability, right? How do we drive growth? How do you ensure that your teams are able to reduce the cost to serve? So as you're increasing your assets under management and your client base, how do you maintain your cost structure so that you're not adding additional headcount just to get the demand and manage the demand that you have? And from that, how do we then drive the client experience and the employee experience so that your advisors as well as your clients are getting that white glove service so that they can manage the assets under management from your client base? And on the right here, you'll see some of the outcomes that we're seeing from customers. 25% increases in assets under management, reducing the overall IT cost from being able to have one single source of truth integrated to multiple data sources, data brokers, bank feeds, as well as driving that internal productivity and ultimately your customer satisfaction, net promoter scores. So these are the outcomes that we're seeing. And I'll go through a bit of a journey here. It's my favorite part, right? Walking through the actual day in the life of what an advisor can go through, right? So you can imagine today, this might resonate with a couple folks here. Your advisors might be hopping between multiple systems. You know, you're logging into, your data brokers, you're logging into your insurance providers, you're logging into multiple systems, working in spreadsheets just to get that single view of the customer. Some advisors are spending upwards of 20 to 30 minutes per client preparing for the next interaction or even just getting an update to a customer, right? So we'll talk about all of that. We'll talk about how you can drive productivity from an automating onboarding and KYC. And then what does it look like to have practical AI in the workflow of your advisors so that they can do more with less and provide that white glove experience. So I just want everyone to just imagine with me, right, the future of what that could look like. And we'll do that with Lauren here, who works at Omega Asset Management as an advisor. She's managing high net worth individuals as well as institutional clients and overseeing the portfolio performance, ensuring that she's growing the wallet share for each individual client. And she wants to provide this white glove service at scale, right? And how does she do that, right? The first place that she'll start is actually in her advisor homepage. And what you'll notice here is that you can see her entire territory in one place, right? I can see all my big ticket items, all my big ticket deals, all my high net worth individuals, whether they're generational wealth, you can segment your clients as you see fit. You can then also take a look and see what assets are under management, what are the new assets, are there any open opportunities that we're running against, what accounts are at risk, and what the engagement scores look like across her book of business. So when was the last interaction that she had with the client in her book of business, right? And you'll see in that advisor home all the action items that she has in one place so that she's staying on top of her book of business and driving not just reactive engagements, but being proactive and the system being prescriptive so that she knows what to do next, right? And you'll see that, she's working to open up a new investment account for a client. So let's hop into that environment right now. So you'll see here, I'm just looking at Claire Johnson, who's a client of mine. I can actually take a look at all the information about her, where she works, when's her birthday, her age, all the contact information, where she lives. And more importantly, the single source of truth is creating value because I can actually also then see what are her investments, what are her total investments, not just liquid assets in her bank account, but any investments accounts, any insurance policies, and any assets or liabilities that she owns. So I have a full picture of her financial health as a client, and I can proactively recommend the most important products to help her achieve her goals, right? So I know that she wants to invest in a vacation home out in Greenpoint, Cape Town, and we're trying to help her get to that, right? So being able to have that single source of truth allows advisor to provide the best service and allows them to get that clear picture in just a matter of clicks, right? And more importantly, when it comes to growing the assets under management or growing the wallet share, is having a full picture of her account, right? So when I look at Claire Johnson, I'm not just looking at Claire Johnson, I'm looking at her household. I'm looking at her spouse. I'm understanding where she banks. I'm also understanding where she's employed, right? And I also understand all the key relationships that are associated to Claire. And that's, her lawyer that's helping with estate planning, right? So you're getting a real picture of this client at a 360-degree view. And why this is important is then you can activate Claire Johnson as well as your entire book of business that's been segmented with personalized communication. You can also then ensure that you're growing the average wallet share for that household. If she has a grandparent or she has family members that also require this service, you're able to grow that wallet share, right? And drive referrals, right? Because you deliver this experience, and I hope the idea is that you're able to grow and get some referrals from this client as well, right? This whole single view is really powerful. And then next area that I wanted to talk about is those life events and milestones, right? Knowing and being able to provide that personalized experience that, they got married in 2022, and I know that there's an anniversary coming up. I know that they've bought a house early in the year, and I know that they're planning on, purchasing a dog, right? So this is where that hyper personalization comes in, and this is done at scale, right? And you put this information into the CRM as you're getting to know the client. And that's how you make sure that you're able to touch base with them in real time and have that personalized experience. And you'll see that wedding anniversary notification is popped up over here. So Lauren, the advisor, can come in and actually action on that. Now, the next area of productivity gains that we are seeing is how do we drive actionable insights like KYC and onboarding. And you'll see over here that all the KYC steps are made available. So I know what steps I need to take on, right? So I can see that I need to collect client documents and client IDs. I need to, make sure that all that information is captured. And you can automate not just KYC, opening an account, closing an account, going through, for example, a wealth advisor health check. So all these workflows are automated. Now I'll pause here, and I'm going to take a little bit of a step into the future, the next minute here, and show how advisors are taking this foundation and really accelerating it with AI in the flow of work. So I'll do a quick example. So this is us tapping into that native generative AI capability. And again, this is just an example. You can think about how this could apply in multiple ways, but I'm just going to go summarize her account right now. So imagine you have 50 clients under management that you need to work through, and you have a new advisor that comes in. This is the type of capability that will allow you to accelerate that time to value and get the right insights from your clients. So I can actually immediately see all those assets that I was going through and all the main recent events. And I also know that Claire has an onboarding journey that she's working on. And I also know it's her anniversary, right? So I can actually draft an email to prompt her to provide those KYC documents, right? And what the system will do is, taking in context of what we know about Claire, draft a personalized email that I can then directly send, and I can tweak it, I can adjust it and send it directly to the client. And because it's a birthday, maybe you want to add a bit of context on it being Claire's anniversary to provide that white glove service. So, I went through a lot here, but I really want to tie it back to the outcomes and value that we're delivering. Being able to have that 360-degree view of your entire book of business, and also providing that white glove service for your specific clients, automating those KYC and onboarding steps, and collaborating with other team members that might need to be involved, and then seeing that AI in the workflow of your advisor's journey, right? So this is where, when we talked about profits declining for some of our clients, this is where they get that profit back. Saving time, doing more with less, using the correct technology. And I want to, leave this with everyone to just imagine what the future of their advisor experience could look like. to deliver a differentiated experience in the market today, right? So I'll pause there. I think I'll hand it over to Tobias. We can cover some next steps and take a couple questions. But thank you for the time. I know my mom tells me that I talk too fast, I talk too much, but I hope that was well paced for everyone.
Thank you, Lucy. I'm not your mom, but I think you've had a good speed on that one. Yeah, so this was very short, right? And this was very like action packed. Like there's still so much more we can do. So as next steps, what we are able to offer you is that you can book in a meeting with us if you just want to have a little bit deeper dive into it. Just have a conversation, see if this is something that could be valuable for your business. Also, me and Lucy are going down to Johannesburg in 2 weeks' time, where we are attending World Tour, so you can go to that one, where 2,000 customers will be joining us in Kampala International Convention Center. So if you're able to attend that one, that will be very valuable. There you'll really be able to see the future of this Salesforce and also how to build great customer experiences. And for those who are also able to join there, if we go to the next slide, we actually have the possibility, because our senior director for specifically wealth and asset manager is flying in from New York and hosting an exclusive roundtable. So if you're interested in coming to event and interested in joining that roundtable, let me know, and I will do my best in securing you a seat at that table. But with that said, thank you so much for the time. I see that we are just about to keep on the time. We will stay on for a little bit, so if you have any questions that you want to talk about, yeah, feel free to pop them in into the chat, and also we will unmute you so we can have a little bit of discussion. But as I said, thank you so much for your time today, and yeah, looking forward to talk to you next.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to ask a question, feel free to use the raise your hand function. We are at time, so we want to respect everyone's time. But yeah, as Tobias mentioned, if anyone has any questions, feel free to go off mute or just drop a question in the channel, and we can take any questions.